What is up, comic fam, and welcome to the Legion of Comics. I'm Mark. It's Sunday night, so that means this is At Week's End, the spoiler-filled look back at this week in comics and so much more. And there is a ton to talk about tonight, but before we do that, check this out. So big hello to the panel. I'm joined as always by Ryan, aka New Guy, aka the Cosmic Campfire, aka 10-Gallon Hat Man. I'm also joined as usual by my Canadian heterosexual life partner. Watch his fist. I can't find it. There it is.
There we go.
And reverse string. And we're joined tonight by a very special guest, one of my favorite bald heads in the community, Nick's Kicks and Comics. What is going on? All right, before we go any farther, real quick, I do want to give a big thank you to the channel sponsor. Big Time Collectibles is partly responsible for making this channel be what it is currently, where I'm able to do more and give back to the members. And I want to give them a big thank you. So if you haven't checked them out already, be sure to check out their website, follow them on Instagram and Facebook, and be on the lookout on this channel for special deals and opportunities for their store. There'll be more announcements for that coming soon. And if you haven't already, be sure to check out that join button that's now available for the channel. Hit that blue button next between subscribe and the notification bell and check it out. There's breakdowns of what that means, how you can get to interact with the custom emoji, the loyalty badges, as well as the bonuses that you can win from Big Time Collectibles themselves. So definitely give that a check out. And thank you to the 42 members that have already joined. I definitely appreciate it. It was a very, very impressive launch. And I've been telling everyone I've been talking to, I'm absolutely full of gratitude. These past few days have been very humbling. Like, I cannot say thank you enough to everybody that has joined up. So I'm going to burn through and say hello to the people in the chat real fast. We do have Southern Comic Geek throwing those Batman emojis, which those are custom channel emojis as well. I've been able to add some more as we go that aren't listed on that little card that I showed. Brian LCS, he's dodging the Venom spoilers for tonight, but I do appreciate you popping in and leaving a comment. It's a great dude there. Chop and drop. Always happy to see you. Dan, the Blue Hellion himself, what is going on? Definitely having a good night. We got Mr. Panda from the Panda Pat in the chat. Becker, how are you tonight? We definitely are. My body is ready. What's going on, Free Energy? We got Ruben Guzman, a.k.a. White Tiger, comics, cartridges, and collectibles. Throwing the emojis in there. House of L Comics, good evening. How are you doing? Hello, Mars, another channel member. I appreciate you joining as well. Blasting and Stashing Comics is up in the chat. What is up, Huey? We got Mr. Chip Getler in here. Hello, hello. Ramen Verse, glad to see you in the chat as always. Mr. Austin LeMay, and for those that don't know, go ahead and throw that Austin over Peach emoji around. He's got his own custom emoji. Very, very supportive of his artwork and what he does, trying to do our part to get his work out there to everybody. The Uncanny D-Man is up in the chat. What is up? Oh, man, he might not like us by the end of this night. I was talking with him briefly. He said he enjoyed the new movie. Every second of it was his. Oh. Now, everybody's mileage is going to vary, but now that kind of took me aback. I said that's a very bold statement. Stephen C., what is going on? Wheelchair Superheroes up in the chat. Boom, 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 boom. Getting down. Dales of Suspense is up in here. Hello, hello, hello. Blasting and Stashing Comics with the $1 super chat. I appreciate that. And as a reminder, as a chat runs, those do get highlighted to catch my attention. But the super chats are available now. If you want to have a comment spotlighted in the form of a donation to the channel, it is there. And all of that money does go back into putting stuff into the channel to try to kick back out to the supporters. So I'm doing my best to figure all that out and what that'll look like in the coming weeks here. So, yep, that's what that is. Paul Rogers, what is going on? Hello, hello. Chat jumped on me. Digger Jim is up in the chat. Glad you can make it. He put out an awesome video today showing off a bunch of his art prints that he has. And I was very excited to see all those Hulk prints he had, as well as that very, very creepy story he told about that artist that he wasn't very well known, but he went out on a boat and was never seen again. And then his art kind of got more attention because of the publicity of his disappearance. I thought that was pretty creepy. Like, I'm listening to that driving home today. I'm like, golly, wonder where he is, you know? Like, where is this guy?
He had a nice shirt on, too, in that video, Mr. Gale.
Yeah, I noticed that. Other than the fact that it was the black one and not the white variant. I'm a big fan of white. I don't know why. What is going on, Robert? Glad you can make it tonight. Thank you so much, Dale, for the congrats. We have another super chat, a $4.99 super chat from channel member Flo Dameron. We are Legion. Yes, we are. We are Legion AF. All right. It's all right. Movies are art, and everyone has their own opinions on them. We would never talk about them. Absolutely. I completely agree with that. And, yeah, I would, man, I've got to have you on sometime to talk about how art is subjective, but there's objectionable points to be made even about art. You know, like I just real quick, I'm going to go on a mini rant. I try to express this opinion or this idea a lot to people. You can like a bad movie and you can dislike a good movie. Your enjoyment of a film has nothing to do with the objectionability of the quality of it. I'm a huge Roger Corman fan. He makes bad movies. That's not in my opinion. He himself goes out to make bad movies. That's what he strives to do. He's not trying to win any awards. He knows what he's making and he's doing it intentionally because there's a market for it. Kind of like those Sci-Fi Channel monster movies and direct ripoff of big movies. They know they're not making a good film, but there's a huge market for it because people enjoy bad movies sometimes. You can enjoy a bad movie and dislike a good movie. Fantastic direction, amazing performances, but it can be some indie foreign film that wins an Oscar that you have no desire to watch. You don't care for that drama level performance. You don't care about reading the subtitles. It wasn't your thing. You wouldn't have fun watching it, but it was good in every aspect of it. Good doesn't equal entertaining for each individual person. That's where the mileage varies, and that's the rant. I feel like I have to explain that a lot when I'm debating movies with people. So, we've made it through the chat. How are you guys doing tonight?
Good.
Good. Excited to be here.
I'm glad. So you're not here for the whole show tonight, Chris?
Yeah, just I'll dip when it's time.
Yeah, I mean, I was just curious if I read that right in our show chat.
Yeah.
Okay. So real quick, we're going to start this off with not spoiling Venom because we want people to be able to hang out for a little while in case they haven't seen it. So we are going to kick it off like we've been kicking it off recently. We're just kind of talking about what's been on TV this past week. Shows have been dropping all throughout the week. So I feel like we're past any kind of embargo, needing to be polite on spoilers for that. Real quick, the new episode of Stargirl dropped at the beginning of the week. I know I'm the only one on the panel that watches it, but it was fantastic. They do a really good job on that show. They know what they have. They know what their source material is, and they really play into it. But it was a very good episode. We got a lot of Solomon Grundy, another battle between him and Hourman, just duking it out. It was super cool, and we're seeing Eclipso just really seeding everybody with doubt, mistrust, and just doing his thing. So it's really building to a big finale coming. So I'm excited about that. And then What If, I think if you're going in order of the week, What If would be the next thing that dropped. And I was ecstatic with this episode. What did you guys think of it?
Terrible.
It was amazing.
Ryan says amazing. Chris says terrible. Let's hear it.
Sorry.
No. I just know Mark and I butt heads about What If, but yeah, it was fantastic.
No, I love this episode. Yeah, so far the whole series as a whole has been kind of man for me, but episode 3 and this one was fantastic. I mean, you can say more than it was fantastic. What do you think?
I thought it was good. Like, for me, the fight scenes between the characters are always top notch. Like, you don't expect to see. I don't remember ever in the comics Ultron going head to head with the Watcher, but it was awesome to see.
Yeah, That was a really cool moment. Like, it's like all the little. I felt like they like threw all kinds of Easter eggs through the fight. Like that one moment where Uatu, the Watcher, kind of like transported to another planet, but then you saw like Ultravision huge up in the sky and takes a Galactus-sized bite out of the planet. I'm like, dude, this is just getting crazy. This is awesome. This is what the show could have been from the get-go. But I feel like after seeing this, it's kind of obvious they were kind of playing with a lot of different elements to lead into other stuff. But this was I don't remember what episode it was. I think it was in the Killmonger episode where at the very end you saw a brief second of like this Ultron coming to Wakanda and lifting his helmet up, and it was Vision under it. So obviously he was a callback, and I was wondering where if that, according to this episode, did he already go to that Wakanda, or is that something that could be happening later? And is the Watcher going to have to form his own Avengers with like Killmonger and Sharon Carter and the survivors of the zombies to get him to stop this Ultra Vision or something?
Yeah,
there's a lot of possibilities now.
Yeah, I think that's where it's headed. Just as the original Avengers were brought together, they're Uatu bringing these Avengers together.
Flo said he's going to hop in tonight and defend this movie to his last breath, and he's already getting started. We'll get there, buddy. I'll shoot him a leak and let him hop on with us when it gets time to talk about it.
I thought when Captain Marvel showed up, I thought it was really good to show what Ultron had to do to take Captain Marvel out was essentially blow up an entire galaxy. Like when he had to dispose of Captain Marvel, obviously we know that she's Omega level, that he had to blow up the planet that they were battling in the core of. Then the ripple effect was 6 or 7 planets also ended up going, and that's to the level that he had to go to end, Captain Marvel, who, bitch slaps Thanos with very little respect. So I thought that part was cool, that they got to show how powerful she was and to represent then how powerful he is and to carry on. And then when him and Uatu started going, that to see Uatu essentially stand up to him, and
yeah, that was cool, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then he armored out, and I'm like, oh my goodness.
Power. Yeah, dude, there's so many little amp moments. Like we were like, here we go.
And the huge payoff for me was to see Uatu throw a headbutt his way.
That was a trade-off, 1 for 1. Yeah, that reminded me of the Justice League movie with Wonder Woman and Superman. Yeah, but he's got the head for it.
Yep, you see Uatu's head, and it's like
that could have been a kill shot.
Like, please God, anything but a headbutt.
Yeah, that definitely could have been a kill shot. Yeah, there were so many cool little moments in it. That little intro when Thanos walked in and he kind of just looked at him like a little peon and just split him in half without a thought. Like Thanos was literally not even on his radar. It's just that stone that he had. That's interesting. I thought that was pretty funny. And I know I've seen some people mention like, why didn't Vision do that sooner and in the other stuff? And it's easy to say that, as well as it's easy to write it off, as well as saying this isn't Vision from the other movies. This is the full-on Ultron version. So you never know if it's like a morals thing or if it's just a power level difference with Ultron being able to actually fulfill that goal he set out to do to get that permanent body.
Yeah, I would have to say it's definitely a morals thing, because I don't think our Vision would automatically go there like that.
No.
Go to murder? No.
And we saw him like amped up using the Soul Stone to shoot that laser numerous times like throughout the MCU. So I don't really know what kind of power level he has with it either. We saw him slice a bus in half like it was nothing and stuff like that, or did something with it.
Took a war machine too. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you remember when Rogers and Bucky were running for the hangar and he just shot the air traffic tower like it was nothing and just toppled it. So I don't know how dense Thanos is either, though. It could be he was using the stones and previous stuff when he was getting shot, or you never know. You just never know. I don't know. 1 stone, Ultron owning 4 stones. Thanos doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but whatever. It was cool. Yeah, it was cool. So they really committed more to the violence level in a lot of these animated stuff, which kind of makes me wonder why they pulled that Spider-Man episode that they had written and in the bag that they said went a little too dark. I mean, that was in a news article. I never saw anything past that news article, but saying that they had written a Spider-Man episode but felt it was too dark for the series, so they decided to pull back on it.
Yeah, I don't know
the Doctor Strange episode.
Yeah, I don't know how a 6-armed Spidey is worse than Zombies.
Doctor Strange did. Like, come on.
Yeah, the zombies, the Cthulhu Strange episode. But yeah, like this episode, like, and with its tying in, it definitely kind of increased the quality of the previous ones that on their own that I watched were just kind of meh because, you know, springboard possibilities, except for the Party Thor episode. That one just, for me, just, it doesn't even fit into this series with the other stuff in this series. It was just kind of odd.
Yeah, but I thought that was still a cool fight between him and Miss Marvel, though.
Yeah, that's what Chris over there was talking about. And it was, oh my God, in this episode, as soon as they showed up to Xandar, I'm like, are we going to see him?
No,
are we going to see him? Oh, is he coming? Is he coming? And then Carol rolls in. I'm like, okay.
That's who when Ultron gets hit initially, I'm like, oh my God, we finally got him. We're gonna get Nova. We're gonna get Nova. And then it was Captain Marvel, like, oh,
I was still
all right. Is she gonna put a dent into him at least? And you know, like, but again, it was hell of a battle. But it just just showed like to what level you have to go to stop Captain Marvel.
Yeah. We got Shattered Glass Comic Review up in the chat. Big shout out, channel member as well as Tyler and Lee over at Whack Comics just hit 1,000 subscribers today. Big congratulations and shout out to them. They're doing big things. They're whacking almost 24/7 over there to get content out to everybody. Fantastic channel. Very, very excited for him. And of course, as everyone who watches this show knows, that Tyler is a staple of this channel as well, and a regular kickoff co-host for the community hangout every Friday morning. So big thank you to him for everything he does for this channel. He's got his own channel he's kicking ass on over there as well. But yeah, big congrats. So yeah, What If was fantastic. Ryan, did you see this new episode yet?
No.
Best episode.
I think my son watched it, but I think he watched it Friday whenever I wasn't here.
Yeah, this one had the biggest payoffs. Like, this was like super level payoff.
Sounds good. I think the only one I've really seen is the first one, and then I've seen pieces of all the others.
Well, Carlito mentioned it a minute ago. He wasn't sure if we'd mention Titans tonight, but yeah, I was going to mention Titans briefly. What If comes out, drops on Wednesdays. Titans drops on Thursdays. And I think I saw someone mention that this was the final episode, and I was not aware of that. If it was, they did not have a big finale. I mean, it was a big episode, but I think, like, I know with season 1, the final episode, it wasn't like a finale. It was like the first half of finale, and the first episode of the next season kind of finished it off. So if that's the case, I can see that. But it was a decent episode. It wasn't nothing too crazy. You know, you see Scarecrow's big plan start to take effect. The city's going into chaos. I mentioned it before. It's like a huge mixture of Batman Begins with what's going on in current Batman comics with the Fear State stuff, with Crane poisoning the water main and setting the entire city off into a frenzy so that they can break it at a level that's never been broken before, so that recovery is actually sustainable or something. But yeah, it was okay. I don't feel like it was so bad, but I definitely am underwhelmed when I compare it to the other stuff that's coming out. Like, in my opinion right now, Stargirl is the best superhero show coming out. And again, that's going to have a lot of like taste that goes into it, because you got to, like, I enjoy the JSA a lot and that old timey feel to it and everything. And they are killing it. Like, the quality of it, as well as like how well they're playing the characters and the content, just spot on. It is just top notch, completely top notch.
I feel as good as Titans has been this year. I feel like, especially like with the last episode, it's kind of like filler. There's a lot of stuff that they really didn't need. I mean, do I need to see Donna Troy having a tough time getting back into Gotham? What is that all about?
Yeah, and I mentioned that also, like how I don't know if it's necessarily all meant to be filler as much as like it's just bad editing in that show. Like, kind of as a whole, like some of the direction choices. Like, do you remember when Jason went to that weird viewing window and was talking to those people that were supposed to be like a naked show for people to watch? Like, you could have done that exact same scene without that odd scenario where you have no clue where he's at, how he got there. You know what I'm saying? Like, they make choices just to be edgy for the sake of playing to an R-rated audience. They haven't figured that out yet. Where I feel like this season has some strong points to it and everything. They haven't balanced out their edginess that they're trying to get yet. So overall, it's definitely not my my favorite show coming out right now. I definitely look forward to every episode. I'm hopeful for it. Just like I'll go ahead and say it now. I'm looking forward to Venom 3, and I'm hopeful that it'll be something great, despite my feelings for the first two. You know, like I'm going to stay positive and support stuff, but I like to see him make improvements on stuff. My beef with Titans is that from episode to episode, it forgets what happened the previous episode. That's the editing problems, I think. Like, there's another movie that I saw really recently that has probably the worst editing that I've seen in any movie in modern times. We should talk about it, Flo. But we'll get there.
I was about to say.
Big $25 super chat from the White Shadow. Thank you so much. I'm going to mail him a light bulb just for you, my guy. He doesn't even have to go get it himself. I've got your address, Ryan. I'm going to send you one of those smart bulbs with the energy efficiency built into it. It'll last for 21 years, or I get my money back. That's what I have in my house. I'll always be there for you, Tyler, says Carlito. Chip or a ring light. Yo. Well, you know I'm going to mess with you a little bit, man. I just can't find the extension. He was born in the dark, Chip, molded by it. All right, so real quick, do you guys have your books that you want to run down and show off that you picked up this week?
Sure.
It was kind of a this was that back-to-back big week. This is this is haven't been having these too often lately, but which I appreciate lighter weeks, but man, when we have like one good big week out of the month, that's awesome. Like you have your reading kind of balanced well when you can pull that off. But go ahead and show them off, Chris. Run through them. What do you got?
Oh, I wasn't expecting that.
You look like a Gleason variant with that white background and the black shirt.
I'll take that as a great compliment.
Yeah.
Cover of the week, hands down for me, is Wonder Woman Black and Gold, issue 4.
Who did that art?
I can't remember, but I'm not going to open this book again because I gotta pull a Nick and get a 9.8 on that cover. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, big shout out to the chat that watches Stargirl. They're throwing that knowledge out there. It is definitely better than Titans. No questions asked.
I picked up Gun Honey issue number 1. And then after I picked it up, I saw Nick said that all of a sudden this book is exploding. Got optioned and it's going to a 3rd printing or something. Wow. Thor 17.
That's a cool cover.
That is a good cover.
Why
Another
did he
good
write his
cover.
name on his hammer? Have you read it yet?
What's that?
Said, why did he write his name on his hammer? Have you read it yet?
No, I haven't read it yet.
Probably Tony Stark.
That's not your cover of the week?
Wow. Look at her. Like, her legs aren't. Oh, she's in mid transformation.
There you go.
Dude, that is amazing.
Yeah.
I thought it was just sunlight hitting her at first.
Yeah.
It's like right where the sunlight is hitting her, she's transforming. That's pretty. Dude, that is a fire cover.
Yeah.
Nick, do you know who did that cover? You seem to know who does a lot of these
I think that may be
covers.
Art Germ.
Yeah, I think it's an archer.
Stanley Lau.
But you know what's cool? There's actually a window in the background.
And I think somebody like Dale, or I forget who it was pointing out her trigger figure and discipline in that picture.
Oh.
Oh, is it on the trigger? Or is it not?
Up. Yes, she does not.
Oh, wow.
One of the
See if I can get some decent light there. There we go. Yeah. Right down there.
Until she's ready to fire.
And did you read that, Chris?
Not yet.
I have. Comics King sent me a $4.99 super chat and told me to buy an X-Men book, and that was the one he told me to buy. So I'm true to my word. Read it.
Picked up the new Miles.
By the way, everybody in the chat, that is the Comic Vet's favorite Miles costume to date.
Is it?
Where did you come up with that?
He has it on this top tier right next to Ghostmaker.
Oh my god. Here, it's going to be one of those kind of nights. I can tell. Libra
That's a good cover.
Mayo. Enough said.
The coloring on that is even amazing.
Yeah. Another great cover is actually the B cover to Deathstroke Inc. issue 1.
That's fantastic.
Matina, all right.
Yeah. Second printing, Geiger 6.
That's really cool.
Nice.
I forget his name. It's something Joe.
Junkyard Joe.
Junkyard Joe. Yeah, he was cool.
Yeah. Another fantastic cover. Spawn with a souped up Gatling gun. Like, that's just nuts. Yeah. Crossover 8. It's about this point my wallet started cursing at me. But you know I couldn't leave out of body on the shelf. Love
That's
it.
amazing. I'm behind on even picking those up. I never put them on my pool. I was just going to grab them off the shelf.
I heard good and bad things about Eat the Rich, so I picked up issue 1 and issue 2.
Nice.
Picked up another Canadian creator's book. Hold on.
Sir Paul.
Yeah.
We got the List Eman up in the chat, another fantastic channel member. He's actually the one that edited together my new intro. So if any of y'all are looking for intros for your channels or cut scenes or anything for your channels, reach out to him. He does it as a gig. He can help you out with that.
So that's it.
All right. Nick, we're going to kick over to you. Let's see what you got this week.
All right, I'm going to skip. Since we pretty much get the same stuff anyway, I'm going to go for my cover of the week.
Boom. Peace out. That's the Peace Out Nick Spencer variant.
With his little squirter right there. See
that looks weird, man.
Right.
That looks weird. I like it.
We'll just go into some of my favorites that came this week.
Oh, wow.
Some 90s foil goodness. I know my man Tapia had got one, and oddly enough, that I believe this was option. This is supposed to be directed by Spike Lee.
What?
Who knows? Who knows?
Who knows?
I picked one of these up because I haven't had one in a long time.
Fantastic, yeah.
So, yeah.
You get Chapel. Isn't that his name?
Yeah.
That's Chapel right there.
Yeah. Love
That
guy.
dude killed Spawn.
Yep.
I got The Woods.
The Woods.
And I don't know how to pronounce his last name. But
Is that new?
No, this is an older one. I picked it up because I had found 2, 3, and 4 in half-price books. And I found number 1 today.
So I hear half-price books mentioned a lot. Is that like a Second and Charles, like a second time around store?
Yeah, I would guess.
Like you can buy, sell, and trade there or something?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, but I think Second and Charles is closer to Hastings. But yeah.
Well, Second and Charles is Books A Million, but for their clearance stuff, and you can buy, sell, and trade there. Like the stuff that doesn't sell at Books A Million, because it's owned by Books A Million, it just gets sent to Second and Charles, and then you add the buy, sell, and trade aspect to it. So they have a little bit of everything there.
We were speaking of Nova a little earlier. This is the first time that he was infected by the Phalanx. Worldman, I believe. A little bit of childhood stuff. I'm not looking for big grails, but those books that I've had when I was younger. And this and Obadiah Stane was one of them, 167. Another one of my OG favorite characters, Machine Man.
Oh, yeah. Aaron Stack. Dude, if you've never read Earth X, read Earth X, and he'll be in your top tier list. Like, that guy is awesome.
Yep, and you get some awesome Alex Ross art as well.
Mm-hmm. And they're all connecting covers. It's 12 books that make one huge connecting cover. Or 13, I think.
Yep.
Makes a big poster.
This is definitely a little bit of spec with the first appearance of Kate Bishop. And this is the first appearance of the Third Vision, I think.
Hello from the other side, bro. Glad you made it.
Hello.
Yeah.
I have no control over that.
So more spec going on. This is the first time Spectrum shows her powers, or she joins the Avengers.
You know, I have that Avengers Unchained issue still from my childhood because I like Legacy, Captain Marvel's son, and the first time she changed her name to Photon was in an issue of like Avengers Unchained. And I went back after when that show came out and looked through my box and saw I still had it. It's definitely a walk-on copy though.
This final one was one that I saw. Didn't really have any real spec value or something like that, but check out this cover.
Oh, wow. That's really cool.
This is the Dynamic Forces version of ASM 648 with 5 Spidey heads by Ken Hazer.
Is that a 1 of 1 or is that like...
this is 76 of 199.
Okay. Yeah, that looks like someone just drew on a blank cover. That's really, really good looking.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's all his sketch stuff. Yep.
Dude, that's awesome.
And
that was from Dynamic Forces, you said?
Dynamic Forces. It'll be on its way to CBCS this week.
Did anybody read Next Wave? That was my favorite take on Monica Rambeau's character. I have not.
Nope, I do have this from my man Free Energy, but we can wait, or I can open it now, whatever time or the show allows.
Yeah, you can. If you want, you can go ahead and start opening it now while we kick it over to Ryan, hear what he read, and see what you got in it.
Man, I actually read a lot this week, but it's not going to be that well reflected because some of it was like back reading stuff. But
because you need a light bulb.
Yeah, that too, yeah.
Where's your bed?
Morning when the sun is on the west side, you know. Yeah, so I read like 3 issues of Action Comics. I read Superman 78, 1 and 2, Son of Kal-El 2 and 3, and Icon and Rocket 2 and 3.
Has that picked up any?
Yeah, it's really interesting. It's not like, I don't know, like it's not blowing me away necessarily, but there is like a lot of like really interesting things happening there. Because of like, I don't know, like they're making really weird choices, you know, but it creates interesting things. Like Rocket went and like took out like all the poppy fields. So like now the global economy is like out of whack because drugs are basically gone. And so like now the president and the US government are freaking out over that. And then Icon has done some interesting things with like revealing basically the way he built his wealth. And so it's kind of interesting because it plays in like these moral gray areas. Definitely enjoying it better than Static. And
nice.
I've only read 1 issue of Hardware, but that was pretty decent start. And then I read like 4 issues of Detective Comics, and that was okay. It didn't like blow me away. It was kind of a weird place to break, but I'm caught up on Detective Comics, so that's cool. And then I also went and did some back reading because I shot a video with Cole from the Comic Burrito this morning, so we'll be talking about Strange Skies tomorrow morning. So check that video out.
That's pretty cool. Who wrote that?
It was written by Jeff Loveness, it was a series in 2019 from Boom Studios. Jeff Loveness is also a TV and movie writer, and so he wrote a couple of episodes of Rick and Morty from the 4th and 5th seasons. He won an Emmy for the acid vat scene in season 4 of Rick and Morty.
Oh, wow. Where they're just hanging out in the bottom of the tank.
Yeah, he got an Emmy for that episode, and he's the writer for the new Alien movie, Quantumania.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Dude, they got a Rick and Morty writer for the new Ant-Man movie. I am 10 toes down all in on that.
I think a few of those writers have a lot of different responsibilities now in the Marvel Universe.
That's awesome. Well, as big as the MCU is, I guess you'd have to assume that any of those writers probably have worked on an unimaginable variety of things. You know what I mean? Especially when you think of where people start versus where they like kind of get in their groove, how often that changes, which I just thought of that because of our conversation last night with James Cameron starting out with Piranha 2: The Spawning, a Roger Corman produced flick, which is crazy to think about. Which it's not crazy to think about. It's just crazy to see how much he evolved and became like legendary in his field.
My question: I saw that Lee just posted something. Say that he made us.
He's got a short
song.
Quite a shout out video that he did for you. He clipped a short for you, so that'll be available. We will watch that together before we go to bed tonight, Chris. Picked up the new Something's Killing the Children, Spawn 322. Run through these quick. Department of Truth, issue number 13, I think it is. That one's from last month. Detective 1043. Mr. Miracle, Source of Freedom, number 5. Batman, Superman, the final issue, I believe it is, number 22. Action 1035. Reptilian, number 4. Berserker, number 5. One for me and one for my buddy who reads it. Just a testament to the marketing strategy for that book. Son of Kal-El, number 3. 78, number 2. Justice League 68. And finally, crossover number 8. Those are all my floppy pickups for this week. And like I said, I did read Hellions as well. And I don't know what else I read digitally. I forget a lot. It's been a very busy week. I'm still trying to find that balance of keeping up with digital stuff. Because I'm trying to teeter the line and kind of mix it up a little. But I know I read Hellions digitally. I don't know what else I read. Yeah, I was completely lost in it. It was 5 years long, that book was. Like, it's long when you have to measure the length and time. You know what I mean? Like, that's excessive.
I still don't know how you do it.
Huh?
I don't know how you just buy day one books digitally and read them.
You just read them. Normally, it's pretty easy if you do it before a shop opens. You're like, I kind of want to read this. I can't go get it. But yeah, all right, Nick, let's see what you have in the package.
All right, he left me a fantastic note, which I'm not going to read because it's just awesome. But
way to really sell it. I'm not going to read it.
No, you know what? There's some personal things you need to leave.
Oh, I agree. I opened the package last night on the banter, and then I had to immediately close it back up because of the note.
But if you guys don't know, Leo, Mr. Free Energy himself, has been wonderful in the chats. I believe he's in the chat right now. Big shout out to Leo. We had met at one of my local comic stores, and he noticed me, which still freaks me out. It doesn't freak me out. It's just really weird. It's really weird because to hear my name coming from a stranger's mouth because of YouTube is just.
It's just because you're so damn handsome, man. Like, come on.
I mean, yeah, but all right. So I'm used to the women aspect of that. For to have a guy, I'm ready for a fight. So recently, he told me that he had some stuff for me, and which is again just a blessing and part of this community. So I met him at the same LCS today. We did some digging, and he provided me with some of this artwork. And if I'm
seen this.
We'll give some away. So I'm not going to look first. I'm going to let you guys see it, and I hope, Leo, that you put the first one on top because I see there's a few.
Yep, they're upside down.
Oh boy!
Boom. Look at that.
Ew.
KO fantasy, dude. That is amazing.
That's terrific.
That is amazing.
Wow.
What's up? Sold Twice is in the chat. Another fantastic artist. Go check him out on Instagram if you guys have not already.
Whoa.
Isn't that amazing? Show it again, man. Quit being stingy.
Let me soak it in. All right.
You can soak later.
Leo, this is amazing, dude.
That's just next level, dude.
Wicked.
Perfect. That's awesome.
I mean, down to the fonts, comic sticker, the comic code sticker. Oh, and then he went even above.
Free energy over Peach.
To show like artist prints.
Wow.
That's amazing.
What?
Did you see his shoes he's wearing, Nick? Look at the shoes that he's wearing in the picture.
Yeah, those are those. It could be the 11 Concords, or it could be some of the Scottie Pippen up tempos.
He put in the chat Jordan 115. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Jordan
Jordan
11s.
Yep.
Yeah, Jordan 11s.
I don't know shoes, as you can see. Chalk it up the sports ball for me.
Right.
Go Bills.
All right. So what we're gonna do is, you feel like doing a giveaway?
Oh, absolutely. If you want to
Claim.
Well, yeah, I guess you can do that too. I have, how many of these? Is it 6 of them? 6 of them, Leo, to give away? Yeah, 6 of them. So if you guys want this awesome print, this awesome reproduction, let's. I'll run a giveaway later in the week. I'll do that.
You want to do one now?
Let's do one now. Yes, we'll do one now.
All right, everybody, if you want to enter to win one of those free energy, very limited prints, he says one is Mylar is for you. Just dropped a hashtag into the comment sections. Copy that hashtag down and throw it up right now. You have a very undetermined amount of time to do that before I spin the giveaway tool.
Dude, this is awesome. That's great. I mean, our community has a fantastic amount of super talented artists.
Dude, you can say that again.
Our community has a group of super talented artists.
Yes, they do. They really do. We've got a few in the chat right now even.
Wow. Shading. This is all dope, dude.
He said, read the variants, Nick, bottom of first note.
All right, so we have 1 of 1, not numbered. That's my personal. We have the first printing, 1 of 1, trial test print. Second printing, error prints, numbered 9 and 10.
He said, find the original, the biggest one.
This one? I mean, just super above and beyond, man. This is fantastic.
Yeah, that one.
Yep.
He said, read it, the bottom of first note. I don't know. I'm lost here. He said, that's the OA.
Yeah, the OA, and then this was the original. So.
Panda said he had no idea his lawyer was a talented artist. All right, so let's see who's going to win this thing. Is that showing up on y'all's screen?
Yep.
All right, so let's start collecting comments. And we're going to draw. You got, yeah, here we go. Looks
like
and the winner is Ignacio.
Hey, Ignacio.
Congratulations.
All right, Ignacio, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a really, really good paper airplane. Wait for it to pick up. And then it's going to you in Argentina, bro. But send me your address, man. I'll get it over to you. And
yeah, I'm sure
once it's done,
to get a hold of you.
Thank you very much for taking the time out. And I'm going to drop all of Leo's stuff in the chat once done. Thank you, Leo.
Awesome. So before we get into the spoilers, we're about an hour in. Let's review a couple of books, get into some of the Venom talk. How much time do you have, Chris? I don't want you to run out of time.
Just keep going. I'm good.
Okay. Well, give me a heads up because I don't want to burn out all the time that you have with us. I'll miss you when you're gone.
Appreciate that.
Yeah. First up on the block tonight, I want to talk about Crossover. This was the return of Crossover. It's been on a brief hiatus since issue number 6. So issue 1 through 6 was the first story arc that we followed Ellie, the main character, trying to find her family back. They had that big finale issue where we finally saw a lot of characters that people were waiting to see. And they broke down the dome and all that good. No, they didn't break down the dome. They attempted to, but we got the big reveal that Ellie was one of the comic characters from inside of the pages of a book. And then we had that really, really awesome Chip Zdarsky issue that was kind of just a one-off where they were kind of exploring the murders that are happening to all the creators out there. But now we're back to the main story arc. And I got to tell you, this was the best way to get me back interested in this book, because the very first page, the way it starts out, is previously on crossover. And then you turn the page, and it literally has every single page from the first story arc. And that I thought was just like such a cool little trick.
That's pretty smart.
Yeah, it was really fun, man. It really just set the tone properly. You know, like, don't take this too seriously. You know what I mean? But I actually had fun reading this issue, and I was mentioning it before the stream. And I feel like it is kind of finding its own now. You know, it's not like I'm sitting here waiting for it to do something grandiose with existing characters or this or that. I'm kind of more interested now in the actual characters that are exclusive to the pages of this book than I was before. So I wasn't a huge fan of that first story arc, but this first issue of this one kicking off, I'm actually interested more than I have been. So I thought it was a very, very good issue. Did you guys get a chance to read it yet? A bunch of no's. Ryan, what do you got?
I got caught up on Detective Comics.
What did you think of
the first 3 issues I read kind of like wrapped up all the stuff with Vile, and like it kind of sucked because I was enjoying what they were doing with that, and then they were just kind of like, and that's it. And so it felt a little rushed, but at least there's like still remnants of him in this next story arc, I guess. They have like those eggs and stuff, so that'll be interesting to see how they bring that back. But overall, I mean, it's pretty good. I mean, I'm just not feeling the Fear State thing. Like, it's kind of annoying that it's crossing over into every title, and this was one of the better ones. Like, I feel like it really messed up Catwoman. It really messed up Nightwing. This one felt less impacted by it than some of the other stuff, but it was still like, okay, now there's just like moving in things into place that, you know, from this crossover that I don't really care about. So overall, it was good, though. I enjoyed catching up on it. I'm still enjoying Detective. So
the Dan Morris art is just enjoyable. Like, it is very enjoyable. Like, Jorge Jimenez is doing a great job over in Batman, but Dan Morris, I just feel like, is definitely suited to draw Batman.
Oh, yeah.
Like, his art style is just fantastic for him.
Yeah. Yeah, I love the work. Even the other guy that he's switching back and forth with, something Bogdanovich or something like that.
Yeah.
He's not bad. I mean, it's just like, yeah, I mean, you got Dan Mora to have to switch with, so that kind of sucks from, you know, on his end. But
it's been really cool, Dan Mora's artwork evolved as well. His artwork has evolved so much from his Power Ranger days.
Yeah. Yeah, it's still got his like style to it, you know, those very like pointed facial features and stuff, but like the action and the kineticism has just like gotten better and better over the years.
Yeah, most definitely. And it's super consistent now, where it wasn't nearly as consistent on Power Rangers at all.
I don't know why Mike keeps taking these cheap shots. Or
it's what we do, Chris. It's what we
here's
do.
the thing, man. Like, I got big books. I don't need to flex behind me.
He doesn't have permission to hang stuff on the wall, guys.
I don't have you know, I'm not envious.
It's not in
like,
Canadian
you know,
culture. They don't put stuff on their walls.
Yeah,
And
what is up, Mario? This is actually my good friend.
Penetrate our walls.
This is my good friend Mario. Me and him grew up in the same neighborhood. I don't think he's ever caught alive before, but yeah, I appreciate that. If anyone is looking to buy a home in the Augusta area, he can get you set up, get you in your dream home for an affordable price. Be sure to check him out on Facebook.
only if Mark's next door neighbor leaves, I'll buy that house.
Yeah. That would be I think we'd get in trouble. We'd have too much fun. Sleepovers every night, hunting all day.
Bunk beds.
We'd wear some sleeping bags out. You know what I mean? They're not meant for 2, but we're going to make them for 2. Chris, what was one of your reads from the week?
I read Nick Spencer's Swan Song. Goodbye, Nick.
Did that come out this week?
What's that? Yeah.
Is that this week or last week? I'm interested to hear about it.
Yeah, they're doing back-to-back weeks with ASM. Thank the good Lord that Kelly Thompson, God bless Kelly Thompson, has taken over the next issue. And yeah, they're going to be doing them almost weekly, I guess, because they just want to get ready. They want to have issue 900 lined up with the anniversary of Spider-Man. So, with that said, there's actually a couple stories in here. The main story was the end of the Kindred Saga. Spoiler alert, Nick Spencer switches it up. Now there's 2 Kindreds in here, and they both beat on Peter pretty severely. And
you can't say beat on Peter. It doesn't sound right.
Right, so they fight Peter. And long story short, it was basically just a bet between Mephisto and Mephisto and Doctor Strange that lasted 3 years worth of terrible writing to get us to the point where Kindred and Kindred just turned out to be clones.
Clones in a Spider-Man book? No way.
So that's it. That's long story short.
Can you give me a little rundown on how it wraps up, though? Because we know that going into issue 75, we are getting the return of Ben Reilly and the shelving of Peter wearing the primary role as the front runner of the title. So how are they tying this up? What's Nick doing?
So that's basically in the end, Peter and MJ go for a web swing near Central Park, ending off that story. But there's a short story that starts at the end of the book called Janine, and it's a story by Zeb Wells where we find Elizabeth Tyne, who's changed her name to Janine, in prison, and she was basically put in prison kind of tied to the murders that Kane did when Kane was one of the Spider-Men. And with that being said, she's in prison, and she gets a couple visitors from the Beyond Corporation. And with that said, they put an offer to her. We're going to take you out of this prison. We'll put you into something that's on the minimum security. And she says, no thanks to the idea of it. But then one of the workers from Beyond says, you'll be dealing with the life of Riley. And that kind of was the code word to let her know that, hey, we're here to do you a favor for Ben. So when she steps out of prison, there's a limousine waiting for her. And she's like, well, is that for me? And they said, that's actually for us. Your ride is actually, and they kind of point, and over walks Ben Reilly in Spider-Man costume.
The main Spider-Man costume or his?
Well, you tell me. This is Ben and Janine.
Oh, I love it. Because see, like on the cover of ASM 75, he's wearing the classic Spider-Man suit, but right there he's wearing like a modern version of his suit from the late 90s. You know, where the spider's large and goes over his whole chest. That's awesome.
Yeah, and
really cool moving forward. That's really cool.
They basically hug it out, and the reps from Beyond say, take her home, Spider-Man, and they web sling away. And Ben says to Janine, you hear that? We're going home. And and then it just ends up with one of the Beyond Corporation members saying, you can't put a price on job loyalty, and that's how it ends. So there is a spoiler at the back of this book where we see Peter in a hospital bed with MJ holding on to him. There we go. And so I'm presuming this is what's going to happen to Peter while we have Ben Reilly as the main character.
And look at his arm. What's up with his arm?
Well, he's going to go full Winter Soldier.
And I did notice the Del Auto variant for ASM 75. He's got like the head wrap and the metal arm and everything. But show that other page real quick with both Spider-Man side by side on it.
Yeah, so that's
the cover A for ASM 75. In the front of it, so it was Peter on the cover A. So you have Peter.
It's Peter and Ben in the background there. Yeah.
So I looked at that cover, and it was kind of odd because it cuts off Peter completely other than his foot. So it looked like Ben Reilly was in the main suit with a weird foot. So that I
got to admit, I like Ben's suit as well. That is pretty cool. It's a pretty modern take on a classic look.
Yeah, it's really cool. I like it. I am excited for this new run. Yeah, I'm definitely excited for this new run. I'm hopeful that it's good. I'm definitely going to be checking it out. I haven't been picking up Spider-Man for a while or caring to read it just due to the lack of consistent good storytelling with it. I'm not a completist with it. I'm fine with back reading when it's good and everything, but I'm excited, very excited to be checking out the new one. And Gleason's done it again.
Yeah.
You want to know what that guy had the nerve to do?
Which one?
Patrick Gleason.
Make a Virgin variant of this exclusive only to Canada?
Well, he did. I had shared my my webhead, my little shrine to that cover.
Yeah.
I said I was finally done. I tagged Mr. Gleason in it. I said, nice display. 30 minutes later, I get an email from Patrick Gleason Studios.
Bad news.
Another one. So I got to make room.
But here's the kicker. You know now we're going to get a second and third print of that cover too, right?
Yeah, are you referring to this one? Are you referring to the new one, or are you referring to different prints of the old one?
75, the new one.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I've got a couple of them, just the standard trade dress ones that'll be hitting my pull box and my LCS. I was on the fence about ordering that Virgin one from Mutant Beaver or from Pat Gleason's website. It is a fantastic cover, but I managed to score all of those ratio variants and exclusive ones for dirt cheap because like so many of them get bought. And I do believe it's only Mutant Beaver only had it limited to 2,000, which is super low for a hot cover.
Right. And within that ratio of 2,000, there were some that were signed or whatever. The unsigned is now sold out. After we released two cool guys swap picks, boom.
That's it.
That's it.
So it was your fault.
No, your fault because you said go over there and get it. But yeah, Nav from Nav's Comics left that comment.
Every time I think I'm out, they pull me back in.
Nick, what was a read from this week, whether it be a new release or just something that you read that you enjoyed?
You know, it's pretty amazing to me how many good horror titles there are out nowadays. This one.
Let me get a closer look at it.
The Human Remains.
From Vault Publishing. That's a wicked cover. Looks so wholesome, and then there's just blood everywhere.
Yep, this is the cover B. What was striking to me about this, it was kind of like, I want to say A Quiet Place, but if the thing is if you show too much emotion, a portal opens up out of the sky, and this creature comes out and eviscerates you. So I don't want to give away too much, but
this is a full spoiler show. Give away whatever you want to. Yeah. It's up to you.
Kill it, Nick.
No, I don't want to.
It's up to your discretion, but don't feel like you have to hold back.
No, I'm going to save everything. I save all my energy for Venom.
Okay, I hear you.
If you're into the market for another good horror story, and you want to veer away from Bunny Mask, you'll be able to understand what goes on here.
Nice. So my next one that I would pick to mention is Action Comics issue number 1035. So first off, this is almost like a companion piece with Superman, Son of Kal-El. Tom Taylor and Philip Kennedy Johnson respectively write their own books, but they come together and like work with each other beautifully. As I would say, they come together like butt cheeks. But we saw Superman come to the rescue at the Fortress of Solitude to the refugees that have kind of went haywire. They're kind of being blackmailed to attempt to take out Superman or know that everyone of their loved ones back on Warworld will be brutally killed. So we're finally getting the final issue of the story arc for Warworld Rising, and it's leading us into the big Warworld saga that's going to be taking place. And Philip Kennedy Johnson did say that it's going to be a saga. Like he did mention that before. I did have the pleasure of hanging out and chatting with him live on the Comics Kings channel, and that was before this issue came out. But it will be the Warworld saga. He said he's playing the long game with this. So Clark leaves planet on this. He has to leave the Super family behind. He asks them not to follow him, that he has things he has to do. He said he has a team that's going to be helping him out, and we know from Superman and the Authority who he's bringing with him. And we also have a good idea that not a lot of those guys are going to make it through that book. But you had some very heartfelt goodbyes between him and Jonathan and Lois, and he takes off. But the Superman books these days have been over the moon good. Like, they are so great. All right, Austin, I appreciate you hopping in for a minute. Definitely have a great night, man. But I know countless people that are admittedly not big Superman fans or readers, but have heard a lot of the feedback and gave them a try, and they've started reading Superman. You know, numerous people. So there's only so much you can say about them other than they're good so many times, and then it's just on y'all to go pick them up and give them a shot. But Ryan, what do you think of what's going on with Superman and Son of Kal-El. I mean, if you want to touch on either of them, go ahead.
Yeah, I loved them both. I mean, like you said, they kind of go hand in hand. You're getting kind of the same story, like not really from different perspectives, but there's like quite a bit of crossover. It's not like they're just telling the same story, but I guess like in Son of Kal-El, you're getting kind of like Jonathan and what's going on with him leading up to the big goodbye, whereas Action's giving you Clark and what's going on with him leading up to the big goodbye, you know? So I'm excited, man. Like, I think they've really set up a strong saga, and it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out, you know? So
what did you think of the final farewell in Son of Kal-El, where Jonathan and Clark were just kind of hovering over the earth, and they had that moment where Clark tells him, like, I'm the man of tomorrow, but you're the man for everything after that. And then they just have that, like, man, it just grabs you by the heartstrings. Yeah. Tom Taylor really proved. Yeah, we've been talking about it since Philip Kennedy Johnson took over, that he has this very unique way of writing Clark and the family dynamic, where he understands these characters on a level that hasn't been explored before since they've been around, and it's done so well. And Tom Taylor has proven that he can do it just as good. Mm-hmm. Just as good.
I also really like where they're leaving Clark as far as like Earth is concerned, you know, because like he is not in a good diplomatic position at the end of this issue, you know, like he's really screwed the pooch on this one. So like getting away from Earth is going to be a good thing, but I thought it was a great position to kind of like leave Earth in, because it means there's always like unresolved tension with going back. Or if the Justice League shows up on War World, you know,
yeah, like so that was something
great tension left open there.
And that was something that the writer mentioned that he wanted to do to create the scenario where Clark is alone. They wanted him to have to go deal with this by himself, so that we can just kind of get him out of the way, so that we can deal with Jonathan on Earth. So why wouldn't the Justice League go with him on this endeavor? It makes no sense for them not to go because of the threat level. Well, what if he personally shook things up so bad back at home that they're forced to stay behind? His own actions led him to have to go at this alone. So what does he have to do? He's had to reach out to criminals, newbies, ragtags, and reach out and create his own authority with his right-hand man being Manchester Black to go try to solve this problem. So he's compounding bad ideas, which isn't normal for Superman, but he's just painted himself into a corner, really, which is very interesting seeing, because people always, their big complaints about Superman is he's overpowered. Well, he's depowered. His powers are fading due to his age, due to whatever it is. So we've taken overpowered off the board. He's always making the right decisions. Well, we're looking at him making back-to-back mistakes. Like once you make one, it opens up the door for more, and then he just keeps going through those doors. So everything that people are critical about Superman, this is your time to be reading Superman. This is it. This is the Superman you keep saying that you wish he was. Go pick him up, go give it a try, and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Panda believes Nick is reaching on this one, and Panda is not about a non-consensual reach around. You're talking about yourself in the third person now. Peace out, Legions. All right, Wheelchair Superhero 87. You have a good night.
Did you were you able to check out Superman 78 #2?
I absolutely did. Have you read those? Oh, yeah, they're so good, dude.
Both of them this week.
They're so good.
It's like a totally different Superman vibe than like the actual like Superman comics right now, you know. But it fits. I mean, like it fits so perfectly into that universe. I mean, I hate to compare the two because it's not really fair, but I definitely like what they're doing here more than I like what they're doing with Batman 89.
Super trash, as DJ Lynx would say. Batman 89 is super trash.
I mean, so like the first issue of Superman 78, they start with like the hot dog scene and stuff, like perfect. And then you get like Clark Kent, you know, he's all like Mr. Doofus, and he's like, "Do you think that Perry thinks I'm a good reporter and stuff?" You know, like. But then whenever, like, Superman shows up the first time, he's, like, all about it, you know? Like, all right, I got this. I don't care who you are or where you're from, you know? Like, again, just like the way that Christopher Reeves was able to contrast those two characters against each other, they even do it in the comic. Like, it's so perfect, you know? I love it. I think it's great.
They capture the essence of every character from the Donnerverse perfectly in this book. The way that the characters interact, the way that dialogue flows, the way that they're even drawn. Like, the art is so simplistic, not a lot of line work, but it captures it. Being so simplistic, it looks like Gene Hackman. It looks like Chris Reeves. It looks like Margot Kidder. Like, they've nailed it.
It actually looks like the perfect marriage of Gene Hackman and Kevin Spacey. Like, they connected those two perfectly.
Look at that reluctant face. And I thought it was cool. Like, so we see Lex Luthor post-prison in this one from the first movie, where he's forced to go, like, live in, like, a small apartment, and he's still on, like, super monitoring, in which he points out, like, in classic Hackman fashion, this is worse than prison. This is a death sentence, me having to live this way, and blah, blah, blah. And Superman shows up asking him for his help with this mysterious robot that crash landed because of when he fought it, which it was tough for him to fight. It sent this signal out to the mothership, and he's worried about what's coming. And Lex is just constantly taking shots at him, and he's not responding to it. Like, you're not going to get him to come down to your level. He's better than that. This is the guy that he is better than you, and it drives you crazy that you have to share space with him because you know he's better than you. So everything you say and do is to drag him down to your level, but he doesn't bite. And I'm just like, this is amazing.
Yes, they nailed that character. You know, like, he's such a perfect, like, neutral evil. You know, he's just like, I am the, what does he say? I'm the greatest evil, or the greatest criminal mastermind. Yeah. Like, dude does not care that he's a bad guy. Like, he just wants to be the best at whatever he's gonna do. You know, and
yeah, it's amazing.
Criminal behavior is what he does.
Well, it's Robert Venditti, right?
Yeah. I think so.
Vendetti's writing it, and man, you can tell that he is a Superman purist when it comes to these movies because he's got it down pat. So yeah,
they
if you're not
used the thing from
oh my god, dude, that was a callback to the Richard Lester Superman. Even so, these Superman has to do a little quick turn, and he grabs his shield and throws the fruit roll-up net off his chest like he did at the end of the because you can watch it. It looks like a fruit roll-up flying through the air.
That's exactly what I always thought of too. Watching that movie when I was a kid.
Yeah, and for those that are channel members and you are in the chat, just like Pop's Act just did, there are custom emojis for channel members. You can sling those Superman emojis all up in the chat. They're super fun. Like, I really enjoy these movies.
I don't know if anybody is wondering, like, what this book is even about. Like, Brainiac shows up, but you get, like, you know, like that. It's almost like Flash Gordon style, like, robots and stuff, and like the perfect rendition of Brainiac for that universe. Like, again, just like filling out that universe even better than it probably would have been done on screen. I love it.
Now, like, because we never experienced Brainiac on the big screen, what this is like a return to the big screen and playing it out as we could have potentially seen it had they have done it. Now, I'm looking at Brainiac, and I'm trying my hardest to try to see what potential actor from that era they might be basing his look on. Did the writer fan cast Brainiac and draw him to the specs of that actor? So I read it, and I'm curious to go look it up and see if I can find them talking about it or anything to see if that's a thing. But
I didn't even think about that, but that's a really good question.
I haven't been able to place it yet.
No, I'm not going to read it, but what I want to know is, does Miss Tessmacher make an appearance?
She hasn't yet. But there's no reason for her not to. You know, she was huge in that first one, especially for saving Superman even.
Giving him a little smooch.
All right, Mario, you have a good night. I appreciate you hopping in. Remember to hit that thumbs up on your way out. And to everybody else in the chat, if you haven't already, go ahead and smash that thumbs up before you head out, or while you hang out. Either way, appreciate everyone being here. We got the Comic Book G-Spot, another channel member. What is going on? He had an awesome hangout last night as well. He showed off a ton of amazing books that he scored from another friend of the channel, Coco Loves Chevy. But yeah, that was an awesome show. I was laying down watching you guys hang out and checking out your haul last night. That was really cool.
I thought he was a myth.
If you seek him hard enough, you can find him.
Well done, sir. Well done.
Thank you. Even poured it back into a Superman reference.
Well done.
So, All right, we've beat around the proverbial bush enough. Y'all want to bring up another book or dive into the movie and then get back to books? Y'all's call.
Dive in.
Let's talk about this Oscar contender.
All right, real quick. Let me throw something up on the screen before we go any farther. Let me create a banner here.
You say tomato, I say tomato.
Potato.
All right, so everyone's warned. Venom 2 spoiler warning. Even though this is a spoiler show, it's not written in the title, but it's in the video description. So I don't want to ruin anybody's viewing experience. But I honestly think that if you listen to our feedback and go see it, it might increase your chances of enjoying it. You'd go in with lower expectations. So I did talk to a lot of people. There aren't too many people I talked to really debate the counterpoint that most of us you're going to hear here tonight. So that being said, this is a very biased panel if you take it in that light. But we all saw this movie individually. We all come from different comic book backgrounds with interests, but we all shared the same take for different reasons, some shared reasons. So that being said, don't take this as us bashing the movie. This is us giving our honest critique of the film, what we enjoyed, what we didn't enjoy, and where we stand on it. So go ahead, Nick. You are here as the special guest for the night for this conversation. Take it away. You saw it first out of all of us.
Yep, I saw it Thursday night, and I want to qualify my viewing perspective.
Definitely.
I go into a superhero movie as a comic book fan first and foremost. All right, so for me, those callbacks and those references to comic books is everything to me. Everything to me. This movie had little to none of those, which already I'm very disappointed in. Secondly, if it's not a good superhero movie, is it a good action movie? All right, and by is it a good action movie, have I seen something in this movie that I've never seen before? As bad as those Fast and Furious movies are, I've never seen a car hop off a cliff attached by a rope being pulled by a helicopter. So I'm like, holy crap.
And then they followed up with a pendulum swing back to back.
Never seen it before. Never seen it before.
Seen it.
With that being said, this as an action movie, I didn't see anything that I did not see before. All right. So then with those two strikes on it, I was like, all right, well, maybe Woody will kill this role. I mean, he's the original serial killer, isn't he?
Yes.
Natural born killers.
Which he was great in.
Real quick, special cameo appearance by Mrs. Legion here. She went and saw it with me as well. She's getting ready to go to bed. Quick review here.
The only part that was worth it was Michelle Williams when she was Venom. That was it. That was it, because she was kind of badass and sassy, and I liked it because poor Tom Hardy was such a
You can say bitch.
whiny little craphead the whole time, and he's not supposed to be. Tom Hardy, do better. That's all.
Thank you, babe.
Nope, and that would be my next one. Eddie Brock is not supposed to be a wishy-washy, whiny kind of guy. He's supposed to be this huge, hulking, get-out-of-my-way bodybuilder.
Yeah.
And that's not it. That's not it. So that was strike three for me. And honestly, with Sony taking over Spider-Man, I'm truly worried for that character.
Yeah, if Venom was a comedian, this would have. I'll get into that when I review it as well.
And the frosting on the cake for me, that whole rave scene with Venom was a Spider-Man 3 dancing emo kind of moment for me, which I
you just stole my thunder.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah. Well, D-Man, on that note, real quick, I want to hit this point because I hear a lot of points that just pertain to movies and not specific movies. And movies as a whole, I am more than aware that this is not a comic book. This is a movie, but this is a comic book movie. Just like when you go in to watch Lord of the Rings, you do not expect it to deviate too far. You know there's going to be deviations. You know there's going to be adaptation things. But and also with the superhero movies, there's going to be more of that than you would get in a traditional book to film. But leaving your source material behind is going to alienate comic book fans. Marvel has done it in spectacular fashion with the MCU because they slow moved it. They started out a lot of stuff very close to source material and very true to the characters in the books, even if the stories aren't. And they slowly moved them into their own unique thing. They created a universe. With Venom, starting with the last one, you have no point of reference coming from a comic book to the movie whatsoever. And that being the case, it's just getting slapped in the face. So what you have to deliver, like Nick mentioned, is something original and something good. And in the case of Venom, your quick review: lackluster performances, poor chemistry between the characters, bad editing that doesn't help the story to flow, and it's an already choppy, bad script to begin with that's rushed down to less than 90 minutes. And it's just, at that point, you have to just have something flashy and fun that's eye appeal. And in this case, the special effects were poor compared to what special effects are supposed to be out there. A lot of the fight scenes were blurry. You couldn't make out what you were seeing. And it was just lackluster. It did not check off the proper boxes for its own genre. And the comedy in it hit. It was flat. It wasn't anything like, nobody was in the theater. I was in the complete theater, did not but chuckle maybe a couple of times. And even then it wasn't even like a full audience chuckle. There was misses on every mark. So that's why I said people might enjoy this film individually, but as a whole, it is just a completely lackluster film in every aspect of it.
Yeah, and just to my final point, I fully understand that Sony is not making this movie for comic book enthusiasts.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to follow the Marvel formula and make it light and airy, which is all well and fine, but at least have something true to the character for us guys to hold on to. And I feel that they completely missed the mark on it.
Yeah. Well, and this is this latter half is an interesting thing to mention. Like, you don't have to have him connect to Peter first. They've established in this movie universe, which is something that's true to the comics, with like the host, like the symbiotic relationship between the host and the symbiote, which, like, for whatever reason it is, Venom saw, like, if you want to get into it, this is the first time that Venom saw a metahuman, if this was DC, but a superhero. Like, he craves brains and all that stuff, and he saw his first superhero, somebody with enhanced abilities, and he just craved it to the point that he's looking at television. So he didn't need that. He doesn't need that hate against him. They are gearing it up, I believe, with that direction. But this is his first.
But they could have tied it into, like, the whole thing with the end credit scene with them saying, we have this hive mind over however many universes. It could be one of the other ones experiences. So
yeah, that's a good point. Chris, what do you want to add to it? And we are going to get into what we enjoyed about this film once we get into the initial take, because I don't want to just like be negative about the whole thing, because there's some fun stuff to it, but it's hard to mention that without the rest of it.
I think this was the biggest hot piece of garbage I've seen since Wonder Woman 84. And I'm skipping over Black Widow. Nick beautifully said there's things when it's not a comic book movie, I try to find something else. Is it a good action movie? Black Widow was a good action movie, I thought. This was just a slap-together movie that I felt was rushed, that there's no choreography. They disrespect motorcycle riders. They disrespect motorcycles in this. Woody Harrelson, fantastic actor at the tail end of the first movie. When I saw him portraying Carnage, or at that point Cletus Cassidy, I thought, my God, at least we're going to get some powerhouse talent to come in here. He's the wrong casting. He's probably 25 years too late at this point. Mark and I commented a little while ago about this. They needed to go to get someone who was probably 140 pounds soaking wet to play a perfect Cletus Cassidy, because that's what he is. You can't change certain aspects about characters. If you want to race swap them, okay. If you want to gender swap them, okay. But there's characteristics you can't deviate from, and this is something that's done thoroughly.
He wasn't menacing with Cletus Cassidy. Yeah, he wasn't menacing at all. No, he was just awkward and weird.
It was pure camp. It was 60s camp. It's hot trash. If you don't go see this on a discount night, you're wasting your money. I get that people enjoy it or whatever, but I've been reading Venom since 86 or 87 when Todd McFarlane took over ASM. And again, like Nick said, Eddie Brock is a hulking character.
And that was actually the point I was going to bring up here. D-Man, you were definitely into this movie, which is perfectly fine. I don't want to just, like I said, just bash the movie. The first time Cletus Cassidy shows up in his pimp outfit, that he put on when he left the asylum. And the first time you see him outside of asylum clothes is in the pimp outfit that he wears the rest of the movie without changing clothes. But he has a fresh haircut. Yeah. Can you explain?
A horrible wig that just seems to hang there, like this.
The wig is better than he had in that first one with he had like a curly afro at the end of the first one. But my biggest gripes with this is the story. Like the story, I think itself on paper was poor going into this. The movie starts off 30 minutes into the movie, like with Eddie and the detective bending the corner in the middle of a conversation on a topic that we're not privy to. Like they literally started this movie, the opening scene of the movie, 30 minutes into the script. That's what got me. If you don't have like good flashy stuff, like I said, that's just eye appeal, you got to have a decent story, and it wasn't. The chemistry between Eddie and his old lady was just poor. Every time they spoke to each other was awkward. And I'm not saying that just in terms of their relationship. I mean, performance-wise, it didn't flow. Even with Eddie and the detective had a weird hairpiece on the whole time even. And we all know that was a toxin setup. So the format of this film was no different than the format of the first film. They didn't do anything to push
another villain.
Yeah, so we're going to get the exact same format in the next one, or they're going to Batman, Superman, Kong, Godzilla, where Spider-Man and Venom are fighting each other, and then they come together like butt cheeks to go stop this anti-symbiote, toxin, who's just going to have a hard-on for killing everyone.
I just think this was, in the end, like sitting back looking at it, was poorly directed. I know Andy Serkis did it, and he's revered in pulp culture for stuff that he's done.
Performances.
Exactly. But they gave him the keys to this, and I think he dropped the ball. And right off the bat, I noticed right away, okay, we have a young Cletus, and we have a young Scream, and these two actors, this man and this young lady, get this job to be in, a blockbuster film. And what does the director do? He voices over their own work with Woody Harrelson and the actress who played Scream. It just right away that left a sour taste in my mouth. I'm like, really? Like, really? You can't even let these teenagers speak in their normal voice?
Watch this. So the first Venom movie had an $80 million budget to make. It made over $200 million. It was a huge success just on the merits of the character itself, not on the film. The film got the reviews it got the feedback it got, but just on the merits and popularity of Venom, it's a guaranteed success. They knew that going into this. They only increased the budget by $10 million, which you can call that just the difference in Woody's payroll. They didn't increase or improve on anything in this film. That's why it looks no different, plays out no different, and it's shot down to a short film. They're literally cash grabbing and taking advantage of the audience. And if you don't see that from the actual behind the curtain Hollywood perspective, that's pretty sad. They're literally just taking advantage of the audience. They've done nothing to improve it, to bring you a better product. After everyone showed up, opened their wallets, and supported it, they crap on you as a customer. That's bad business even.
You're right. They didn't improve the way that Deadpool did, in my opinion. But the one final thing I want to touch on is the special effects. The quality of the special effects in this, whether it's Carnage or Venom himself, just stretching out and throwing daggers or swiping at each other. This is the kind of stuff that we saw back in the early 90s with Terminator 2. And I almost feel guilty by trying to compare a masterwork by James Cameron to this hot piece of garbage that this movie is. There is nothing cutting edge about this movie. In the way how they saved money on special effects is everything's done at night. It's sloppy, it's textbook, it's garbage. Like I said, if you don't see this on a discount movie night, you're hurting your own bottom line. Wait for it. Go find it on your Android box. Wait for it to come on HBO or however you watch it in the United States.
What's the Canadian?
Crap. It's worse than Wonder Woman 84 because at least Gal Gadot showed up in that one. No one in this movie showed up, maybe outside of Michelle Williams, and she is barely in it, maybe 20 minutes worth of screen time anyway.
We got Burt Family 54 in the house, another channel member. I appreciate it. Throwing those DC emojis. That's what I'm talking about. Awesome. But yeah, Free Energy, is it worth seeing period at all in any way? I would say yes, just to form your own opinion despite our reviews, but with the disclaimer, do not blame me if you don't like it.
Yeah.
It's a Canadian thing, Panda, I'm assuming.
Android box.
Yeah, and then Ryan was already on the So yeah, and even the cover collector was truly disappointed. I've spoken to numerous people who even saw it before me who were afraid to even speak on it, and then after I saw it, it was the same thing from everybody. Like what I've heard from everybody across the board is that post-credit scene. Like I don't know why people like. I wasn't surprised by that. I do not follow MCU spoilers or Venom spoilers or try to look up this stuff ahead of time. But that's exactly what I expected at this point was Spider-Man to be brought in. That's what everyone's been expecting since they announced a Venom movie, isn't it? Is them to finally work him in, and we're getting the end of Tom Holland's Sony Marvel deal with this final movie. So I'm going to go ahead and predict that Dr. Octopus, Green Goblin, Sandman, Lizard, Electro, whoever these villains are that they already teased us, have nothing to do with the overall main excitement or plot of the next Spider-Man movie. That's just the crumbs are throwing us out there because there'll be crumbs through the movie.
No,
but I would expect
Doctor Strange. That's all.
I would expect to see Venom potentially pop up in the Spider-Man movie as the big fan service moment where they can finally put the logo on his chest because it's written into some deal because they want that big Captain America picking up the hammer. You know, they're looking for those moments, and putting the logo on his chest and putting that movie would be one of those moments just long enough to bring Spider-Man back away from there. You know, like if they want to make, if Sony, from a Sony perspective, want to make Spider-Man as good as you can possibly make him over there once you take him back, you would want to have that ability to put your Venom over here to just drag everyone with him. You know, like that would be a smart marketing move. So I would not be surprised if that happens in there. But everyone's saying, oh, Venom's coming to the MCU. Awesome. No. Spider-Man's leaving the MCU. Like, this is it for Spider-Man. Like, unless Disney comes off money that they're not even willing to pay Scarlett Johansson to begin with, like, this is it for Spider-Man for a while with the MCU. They're going to try to move forward with him over there in the Sony universe.
No, and I think he'll pop into movies every now and again in the MCU. I think he's just done with his own main title.
Yeah, his trilogy is over.
Now, did you guys, when Venom spoke of a hive mind, did you guys not get, like, I kind of went right to null when he said that we have, you know, we're a part of a collective hive mind. I'm like, oh my goodness, they're setting up a King in Black storyline.
And you have to think, between this and Thor, I mean, what else could they possibly do? I mean, you have Gore, and now you talk about Venom, about the hive mind. How does he not show up?
Well, I don't necessarily know that they would have to like commit to Noel. Like, they're just at this point, the way that I took that is just building on the lore of Venom itself. Because currently, Venom has a bigger lore than he's ever had in history, right? So if they're attempting to actually, in their opinion, create like a lore and a mythos for him and kind of expand on his character instead of just being like this one-dimensional alien symbiote, you know, they're just expanding on what we know. There's all these alien symbiotes. Venom was the little pussy out of them that they didn't like. You know, he's picked on. So there's, I mean, if you're going to continue any kind of backstory conversation, you have to take it somewhere. So whether they go Noel or not, this was an inevitability to mention something about the dynamic of the symbiotes and how they're from space and where in space with them. I mean, you got to ask the basic questions: where, what, how, why. Like, where are they from? What do they do? Why is Venom an outcast? You know, they're just checking boxes off. But it does open up potential and possibility down the road. But the way that they rushed this movie and this script, who knows? He could be in the teaser trailer for the next one. It can go either way.
I think all in all, it makes you appreciate guys like Feige and Filoni, who really love and appreciate the material to really see through every step of it to make it both good for the comic book collectors, the true fans, and those people who just go see MCU movies, because that's what it is.
Well, you know, this is a Tom Hardy story. I don't know. He had
a lot.
He has his own production team behind it, and like brought in his own writers and stuff to actually write the script. But as soon as Sony gave him the green light to do a Venom 2, he was like, "Okay, I got it," and like basically pitched the story to his writers and had them write up a script to.
He needs to fire his writers. And I don't necessarily want to say that. There could have been like a whirlwind of issues that came with this, and I know it was all to save money. Looking at their budget of $90 million, there was no reason that this movie should have been limited to a $90 million budget. When the initial one was only $80 and you only increase it by 10, when you more than tripled your money on the last one, not counting merchandise or any of that stuff, just on ticket sales.
And you know what I think that is? I think that Sony has the whole other side of the business they make money in, and movies are kind of like secondary to them.
Yeah.
I mean, Disney put 13 mil an episode into The Mandalorian. And we see how good that was. I mean, you can have...
It's like the best Star Wars thing since the original trilogy. Absolutely.
Yeah,
it's
very
fantastic.
cinematic.
So.
That Crate Dragon, man, what a way to start a season. Like, that second season was so dope. It was fantastic.
I mean, it just worries me because I think overall Holland has been, for me, the best Peter Parker Spider-Man out there.
Yeah, a lot of people like him. I'm one of the dude. And I can recognize it. I'm very get off my lawn with Spider-Man. I don't. I think Holland does a fine job. I don't necessarily care as much for this current trilogy universe as I do for ones that have come before it. Where this one definitely stands more on its own. It's more modern. It's playing to an audience that is not my age more than it's playing to my age at this point, which it's supposed to do that. That is exactly what it's supposed to do. So I recognize it. God, forget what interview it was. It was the very first time I think that I listened to a Small Time Collectibles 10 Questions interview when he made the comment that he might be aged out for a lot of Marvel books these days, which is fine. They're just for the generation behind him. I'm starting to feel that happening with certain titles and with certain movie properties, which is fine. There's still plenty of stuff out there that piques my interest perfectly, but I prefer both of the other Spider-Man movie universes over this current one. I prefer the one with Gwen Stacy and the Amazing over it. Yeah. I prefer the Sam Raimi one over it. The Sam Raimi one that is a total fan service callback to the 60s and 70s era of comic books. Like it is very unique in its own way that it'll always be able to stand on its own. You don't even really get to compare it to anything that's happening now, or no other one's tried to do that. Comic movies in general. Yeah. Stargirl does that.
My personal, I do like Tom Holland. Like again, I think what they did with Tom Holland was really cool. We skipped over the origin. We didn't get the Uncle Ben story, which was refreshing. But I like Andrew Garfield personally as the best Spider-Man. I liked the chemistry that he had with Gwen. The only thing where I think Mark Webb messed up was they try to cram too many villains into The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Have you seen the trailer for the new Spider-Man movie?
So, yeah.
3 villains, you say? I've got 6 out the gate.
Right.
Dude,
the thing was a good Spider-Man. He was a terrible Peter Parker.
I liked him as Peter Parker. See, in my opinion, that was the same thing that they done with Tom Holland.
He played a different character in every scene, especially in the second movie.
I don't know. Peter
Parker was incredibly inconsistent in those 2 movies, especially the second one.
Yeah,
Spider-Man was great.
His Spider-Man and the sarcasm was fantastic. Yeah,
I didn't see the inconsistencies in him, and I'm like, I've heard you say that before.
Man. Oh my God. He plays a different version of Peter Parker in every scene of Amazing Spider-Man 2.
I don't know. He's always like that, unsure himself. Like in a conversation, he'll step away awkwardly and come back. But then when he's by himself, you see him just like in his zone, like doing stuff. I thought they did a good job of playing his like his fear of crowds, his awkwardness in conversations and stuff. That version of nerdiness in that time era, like the late 2000s and stuff. And I don't know. I thought it worked good for that time era. Like he was acting the specific way that I've seen numerous people act like that I grew up around and went to school with and stuff like that. It was just spot on to stuff that I'd seen firsthand. I don't know.
I didn't like him. No, he was a terrible Peter. Great Spider-Man though. I think.
Well, would you beat that Peter?
Spider-Man. I think Tobey Maguire was the best Peter Parker. I think Tom Holland is the best marriage of those 2 overall.
The only problem I had with the first one is he never really got that confidence. He was always like that meek little guy. The second one, Garfield was just too cool for me. He was never that awkward kind of Peter that we look for. And I think, like Mark said, it's kind of with Holland, it's that marriage of both. You can see. So
you get behind a 6 villain versus the 6 hero because villains are not the primary character that you don't focus on. You don't get the time, consideration, or energy developing their characters and diving into them and making them make sense and fit into a story like you do with your protagonist. So the antagonists are always background pieces. So to get that kind of level of detail and good quality storytelling, you have to have less, or you have to have a movie that's 4.5 hours long. Oh, Snyder Cut. Which absolutely crushed Venom 2 with the ratings numbers across the board between real professional critics and fans. But I think that them trying to do a Sinister Six movie in the final of the Marvel thing, that's risky on their part. I don't know. That's why I'm saying they cannot be a major part of this movie. I don't think you're going to see these villains on the screen together unless it's in like a little flash thing. And I don't think you're going to see a Sinister Six form and work and operate together. That would be something that the MCU's been careful not to do, is overinflate a movie with villains to the point of sabotaging it. They're aware of that, I think.
Oh, Sony's going down that road. Morbius is around the corner.
Well, I mean, if you build,
it may not be the traditional Sinister Six, but it's going to happen.
If you build a Sinister Six like that, where you have Venom having his movie, where you actually build to it, where you've already developed these characters, you're familiar with them, that's completely different than just doing a Spider-Man 3 and throwing in all these villains.
I agree.
The Avengers.
Holland over Garfield and Toby over Holland, but his time is over. Tom is his generation Spidey. I'm cool with that. Yeah, same. I completely agree. I'm not his generation. Yeah. And I think that they were smart with that casting, because what is he, like 37 now, but still looks 18?
Stop it.
Holland's that old?
Well, what is he? I don't think he's even 26 yet, is he?
I don't know. He's still in high school, though. It's not like Freddie Prinze Jr. when he was like actually 37 playing an 18-year-old back in the day.
I Know What You Did Last Summer or whatever.
I've never been, like, all kinds of movies.
I'm going to have problems seeing him as
born in 96.
Nathan Drake.
That's what I'm saying. Like, how are you going to cast him as Nathan Drake?
I don't know. People thought Michael Keaton couldn't be Batman, but, here we are.
Yeah. Oh, I don't think Tom Holland's a bad actor either. I think he's definitely a good actor. Definitely a good actor. I don't know why they're delaying Morbius. I know that Sony was sitting on movies for the pandemic purposes. Like, they were sitting on Venom. They pushed it back. They saw that Shang-Chi performed, that people will show up enough to warrant releasing it that way. So maybe we'll see a push forward in Morbius now. I'm excited to see that one too, because I think we don't get, like Nick pointed out, there's so many good horror-style comic content out there. So Jared Leto is another fantastic actor, but as we just saw with Carnage, if you do not have a decent script or allow them to do what they do best, not every actor is great at every aspect of acting. You have to let them work inside of their parameters, which I think Leto is capable of doing a lot. So hopefully they give him a decent script that he can use here.
I don't know about that one. I think
Ryan has Apple TV. He hangs it over my head like a steak I can't eat because the foundation is on Apple TV. You hear him laughing. My wife just walked in. He's like, mute it. Does anybody have Apple TV? Toby was pretty old during the Spidey movies. Yeah, that was that era where you're getting grown-up teenagers. Hey, that Holland is going to be Marky Mark's understudy in Uncharted.
Yeah, I mean, it's even tough to see Marky Mark as Sully.
I'm not familiar with Uncharted. What does this mean?
It is a video game franchise for PlayStation.
Well, I'm familiar with that aspect of it. It's like a modern day kind of Indiana Jones character, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So who's Mark Wahlberg going to be playing?
He's going to be his mentor / old guy in the movie.
Oh, so he dies?
No, he won't.
I don't think he is.
Sort of like
my wife just said, is Mark Wahlberg old now? Are we old now?
Have you seen that man's forehead?
I guess when you open up a hamburger chain, that means you're getting toward the end. Wahlburgers. This video franchise from Sony.
Hey, so my suggestion to you, if you guys want to watch Foundation, just rent an Apple TV from Best Buy. Watch what you want to watch. They'll give you a free trial of Apple TV, and then when you're done, just return it.
So you actually have to buy an Apple TV box. You can't even just like get an app.
No, you probably can get an app, but they give it to you for free when you get an Apple TV.
I like free. Yeah. That sounds good. I just don't like the idea of giving Apple any of my money. I don't know why. I don't know why.
Like I said, you can just watch what you want to watch and just return it.
Because they do one a week and there's only 3 out so far.
Yeah, Ewan McGregor's got a great
I'm sure that it should be available to purchase when it's over, right?
Is that what the show is called?
What? No, the Foundation is that new sci-fi show. Have y'all seen a trailer for that new movie coming out from Roland Emmerich where the moon is like, because y'all know that the moon is like steadily getting closer or farther away from the Earth every year, whatever. The moon is like crashing into the Earth in this new sci-fi trailer movie that's coming up, and it looks spectacular. Again, it's Roland Emmerich, like he's like the disaster movie king.
Independence Day.
Independence Day.
2012. Universal Soldier, 2012, like all of them. He does all of them. Right? Yeah, I saw it for the first time when I went to see Venom, so it was like the best part of the movie for me. Was an upcoming sci-fi movie. I love sci-fi stuff, man.
Moonfall.
Moonfall, there it is. Yeah, dude, it looks fantastic. Like the special effects and stuff in it, and like whenever there's like kind of future tech spaceships flying around, I'm in. Speaking of that, I started watching The Orville today when I was just trying to get Monkey to sleep. Yeah, and that's decent. That's freaking decent, man.
Yeah. How far in are you?
I watched like 2 full episodes,
At the beginning of the first season?
Yeah. I started at the beginning.
Oh yeah. It gets really good toward the end of the first season once they kind of decide like they find their footing, They decide like we're not just supposed to be like a comedy spoof, and so like the end of the first season's really good, the second season's phenomenal.
Mars said, I cannot watch that movie. I'll be staring at the moon and freaking out. I bet you were a real gem to hang out with at the end of 2012. December hit, freaking out. This is it. 21 more days.
That in 1999.
Yeah. Oh, God. Y2K.
Y2K? Yeah.
Dude, because I was younger when that was happening, right? So I asked, like, what's the big deal with Y2K? And they're like, the computers can't register 00. I'm like, okay, so they'll figure it out. Right. Or they won't. It'll be okay. I had no.
Listen to the Stuff You Should Know episode about it, though. They really explain very well, like, what the deal is with it.
Yeah, it equals no milk on shelves is what it equals. Like, yeah, as I've grown up, I actually looked at like what that meant if the computers would have had that problem that they were thinking that they could potentially. Don't get me started.
just build new computers, like Rick.
It's just
all right. Mars has got me thinking. Let's get on a more positive note. Mars, are you reading The Department of Truth? Just from this little bit of conversation. All right, Chris, I appreciate you hopping on. As always, man. We're not going to be on here much longer. It's been an off weekend. I got an early work day tomorrow. Just going to down here, but
well, Mark's freezing. I'm gonna take off. No. Later. Good night, guys.
See you later, brother.
No, I was doing it slow. I don't think I was actually freezing. Did either of y'all read this issue?
No.
I perused it, but I have to go back. I haven't read, I think, since like issue 10.
Bro, it was
the Bigfoot issues.
Bro, this was a phenomenal issue. This was the finale to this story arc. With the second story arc. It was so good. So the last issue, Hawk revealed that he's working for Black Hat. And in this issue, like it's him and Cole having that conversation about it. And if you haven't read it, I mean, this is a spoiler show. That's your fault for being here. But so, the whole thing, Lee Harvey Oswald is like the head of the Department of Truth. And the whole thing is like with people like Cole who are considered fictions, who are they're strong-minded enough to bring stuff into reality and all that. Well, Hawk went over to the Black Hats because he didn't trust the department anymore, because we found out that he's known Cole since he was little. He was sent to groom him to get that fiction started. And then when he got Cole fired up and on TV talking about his nightmare, of the Starface Man first appeared to Hawk in his hotel room, and Hawk woke up and saw him looking at the TV at Cole, fiending to eat children. So he immediately bailed on the plan. He knew that what the department asked him to do was actually going to get these kids killed. He has never seen a fiction like the Starface Man before. Nothing has ever been like this before. So he bailed on that plan and let it die. That's why it was such a short-lived conspiracy, because Hawk killed it. Then he started looking into the department itself. Why would they ask me to do such a thing? And then it dawned on him. There's been 2 Lee Harvey Oswalds in history. The one that was pulled by the department and is now the head of the department. And then there's the fiction that they created that Jack Ruby killed. Hawk is convinced to his core that Jack Ruby killed the real Lee Harvey Oswald. And they have the fiction, the physical embodiment of what is wrong with America is leading the Department of Truth. And he moved over to the Black Hats, and he's over there now, but he realized that they're worse than the department is. So now it's up to Cole. He puts it in Cole's hands to fix this. I'm like, oh my God.
What?
This is so good.
Cole Burrito, it's all up to you, Cole
It's
Burrito.
up to you. Hashtag Team Jacob if you're watching this. She said she got one issue of the Department of Truth, but the covers are always kind of freaking me out. Yeah, if you look at this one, not to freak you out, but they play so well into the story specifically, like with the idea of there being 2 Lee Harvey Oswalds, the one that was killed by Jack Ruby and the one that's still alive, and he's heading the Department of Truth. Like, man, it was so fire. It is amazing. It is one of my favorite books to read every week, and I've mentioned it before. Let's see that cover. I don't think I've seen that one. Oh, the moon landing. That's amazing. And that's another point. The red dress woman. Cole said, "Why are you trusting me with this?" He said, "Because she picked you. The woman in the red dress, she's picked you." So there's something about Cole. We've already been told in previous issues that he's considered a fiction, someone with a strong enough willpower to manifest these things without having to have the group think tank do it. You know, like normally you have to convince enough people in the world to believe something to get that shared level of belief to manifest it into reality. Cole is able to do that on his own. Hawk on a level is able to, he's a shaker and a mover. He can make things happen. He knows how to do it. But Cole, there's something about him that they haven't told us yet. So dude, it's so good. This is the best James Tynion book out, no questions asked. Again, the level of quality versus your personal opinion or agreement, 2 separate things. This is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Read of the week. Exactly, Ignacio. Cole is the one.
We watched that today.
Yeah, I've went back and watched all 3 of the originals since the trailer dropped. I want to watch the Animatrix here soon. That was really good. I don't know if y'all ever known this, but do y'all remember Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within, that amazing CG computer-rated movie? Like, I didn't play the game, so like I don't think it has anything to do with them at all, but it's just a phenomenal sci-fi movie. Well, if you go watch Animatrix, there's one of the shorts is that same computer CG animation. They use the same computer actors. If you look at the characters in Final Fantasy and the Animatrix, they're just wearing different clothes.
Mm-hmm. Never knew that part. I'll have to go back.
Well, you're welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Animatrix was the bar for animation and sci-fi, I believe, movie tie-ins.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
That's
the art in it.
Batman Gotham Knight.
Yeah, that was cool because that was inside of the Nolan universe, and we got Deadshot inside of the Nolan universe with that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a cool movie. A lot of people slept on. They also did. That studio did something else recently too. Crap, I forget what it is though.
I don't know. But guys, do you have anything else I want to add to it tonight? We're at 10:56, so we're getting close to that 11 o'clock mark. I try to cut it off at, keep this digestible on the rewind, and be able to go wind down and get to bed.
Yeah, I got to be on a 5 o'clock call, so.
Oh, my man. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, no.
Well, what do you got coming up on your channel, Nick?
Tomorrow I'll be filming a store tour at the local LCS, one of the local LCSs, as well as an interview with the store managers there. They've got, this store is known for, the grails that just pop up out of the blue in that store.
Is this a guy who's affiliated with Overstreet?
Yes.
Awesome. I'm sure you're going to touch on that in the video, right?
Yeah, if I get a chance to interview him, but I don't know if he might be a little camera shy. But
Get him a V for Vendetta mask.
Yeah, the owner, he's sitting on an Action Comics 1 9.6 and a Detective 27 9.6, which if you want, you can go on eBay and buy them right now. I think they're like $3.2 or $3.6 million a piece. So
that's cheap for both of those books.
Yeah, I was there today with Mr. Free Energy. We were looking at the ASM 1 they had there and just a whole bunch of the Golden Age goodness. So I'll get that all in the video. Hopefully that'll be out by Wednesday.
Whew. Dude, that just made me that made me feel weak hearing that. An Action 1 and a 9.6.
Yeah, he's the same guy who helped Nicolas Cage sell off his first collection. So that's the kind of level of stuff we're dealing with.
Jesus. Ryan, what do you have coming up from the creative corners of your mind?
Well, I guess the big thing is this video tomorrow. It'll be on the Comic Burrito channel. It's Cole and I speaking about Strange Skies Over East Berlin, a great 2019 Boom Studio series. There was a lot of awesome series coming out from Boom at that time, so I don't blame anybody that slept on it, but it was cool because I really enjoyed it as it was coming out, and then talking with Cole and having him read it, he had completely missed it. And so I guess it's just kind of validating that he got into it as much as I did at the time, and it's 2 years later. So I think that says it stands up to the test of time. So check out that video tomorrow and find out what Strange Skies Over East Berlin is all about. And other than that, I'll be posting and writing and doing all kinds of things. So
is that something that is pre-recorded and uploading, or are y'all going live to discuss it?
No, it's pre-recorded. We got together and recorded this morning, so he's supposed to have it up tomorrow. So I'll be sharing that out once he releases it.
Very nice. So to everybody who doesn't know who's in the chat now, the channel membership is now live. If you would like to join the Legion, be sure to hit that blue button. You don't have to commit. Just hit that button and check out the perks and see what's going on that's new with the channel, as well as tomorrow. And I've got an uploaded video and unboxing of some books and some CGC stuff. And then Tuesday, I like normal want to try to go live and do a short live for my DC haul because I'm off on Tuesdays. And then every Friday, the community hangout will be kicking off. And then, of course, every Sunday, join us right here for At Weeks End, and we'll spoil some more movies, shows, and books. So until next time, guys, as always, I'm Mark, but we are Legion.